Hey guys, it's Hannah. This is actually my third attempt at filming this video. Today it started out as a good day and then it slowly got bad. I went and was running some errands and I feel so tired, and so we'll just see how this goes. This might not be the most peppy of all videos, but we'll just see. As you can see by the title of this video, today I thought that I would talk a little bit about self-harm, and I haven't talked about that in my blog yet, mostly because I can't find the words to say. What I'm going to do is just tell you guys a little about my personal self-harm story, and then I asked some friends on Facebook for some questions, and I have some questions here that I can answer. My struggle with all this has been 10, 11 years now, but I didn't start actually harming myself until last year. I was so controlled by my emotions. It was like I wasn't myself anymore. I didn't feel like myself anymore. I felt like everything that I did was controlled by my emotions, and I couldn't control my emotions, so therefore I had no control over my entire life. The first instance I had was I got so frustrated at something, I can't even remember what it was, that I just took 2 handfuls of my hair and pulled as hard as I could, and I ripped. I mean, I could hear it ripping, and I looked down and I actually have hair on my hand right now. I looked down at my hands and I had 2 big handfuls of hair, and I was like, oh my gosh, what have I done? And then I rubbed, my scalp was just burning and burning, so I rubbed it, and it felt really good where I'd rubbed. It felt almost like I could feel the anxiety leaving my body in a way, I suppose. Over the next 2 or 3 weeks, I picked very small pieces, and I started back here because I didn't want anyone to see, because I wore my hair down every day, and so I pulled back in the back, thinking no one would find out, and no one did for a while, but I'll show you guys. You can see that my hairline on this side goes way further up than this side does, and watching that footage play back last night was really just like, it hurt, so I started crying last night. But then after I pulled back there, I started feeling like I was pulling a lot, you know, so I was like, okay, people are going to be able to notice pretty soon. So then I moved to the spot above my ear, and since I wore my hair down, it was covered, and I pulled and pulled, and I actually pulled all of this in, I believe it was 1 or 2 days that I did this. I don't know how far up it goes, but and it's growing back a little bit, but you can still see this area is a little bit more bald than the rest of me. And then when I looked at how much, you know, you could really tell what I'd done, I stopped, and I immediately called my doctor. When I went to the doctor, she gave me a medication for anxiety, and I was supposed to take them at the most 2 times a day, but it was like an as-needed thing. So like when I felt anxious, I could take this medicine. I would take 2 at a time, and it kind of made me feel drunk in a way. And up until this point, I'd been a big drinker. But whenever I could get a hold of alcohol, I was drinking it until I was drunk and throwing up, passing out, bad drunk. So what I started to do was take 4 or 5 of these pills that I was only supposed to take 2 of, and then combining it with alcohol, which you're not supposed to do, and just basically being in a haze, you know, and that was kind of a form of self-harm or self-mutilation for me, because it made me really numb. I mean, literally all over my body I felt numb and felt good, so that was something I did. I always took more than I was supposed to of my prescriptions. And then probably 4 or 5 months after that, I was in such bad shape. I was having suicidal thoughts every day, and there were two sides of me almost, like, conflicting with each other. One side of me was saying, kill yourself, just do it, get it over with, there's nothing good about your life. And then there was another side that was saying that I was scared, and that wasn't something that I wanted to do to myself. I didn't want to die. Those two sides conflicting made me really angry, and I felt as if I'd lost all control. So one day I got the pocket knife out of my purse and just started cutting as hard as I could on my arms, and that was kind of my way of telling my body, screw you, you know, like, look what you've done to me, look what you've done to me, is basically what was going through my head while I was doing that. And that might not make sense to some people, but it's just the truth of it. So that's just me. I haven't been a big, you know, self-harmer. I haven't done anything too really extreme, I guess I'd say, but that's just my story with it. Since I was having so much trouble making this video, I asked on Facebook for people to give me some questions that they have for someone who does self-harm, who harms themselves. And I actually got a really big response, so I'm just gonna try to answer these questions as best as I can. I'm not a professional, so let's go. My friend Reagan asked, what does it do for you? And I think that's the question that a lot of people have. Like, why do you do it? What do you get out of it? And the honest answer is nothing. It does nothing for you except leave a scar. For me, in my mind at the time, it was a way of taking back control of the anxiety that I was feeling and the anger that I was feeling. But in retrospect, it honestly does nothing for you. But I think for a lot of people it's about control and having that control, if that answers your question. My friend Marco asked, what advice would you give to someone who is a close friend of a person who inflicts self-harm? So basically, what can I do to help? A big thing for that is to be patient, and for them to make sure that they know that you know exactly what they're doing to themselves. And then you need to really try to push medical help, because that's really the end all. I mean, for me it was. I wouldn't have stopped if I hadn't have gotten the medical help that I did. So, and some people, if you say, you know, hey, let's go see a therapist together, or hey, I know this really good therapist you could go to, they might not be as welcoming as others. You know, they might not say, yeah, you know what, you're right. They might say, you know, screw you, you don't know my life, blah blah blah. And that's just one of the things about it. On an emotional level, it's they seem to have lost a sense of control. And I think a big thing is getting them medical help and making sure they know that this will help them gain control back of their lives. But I'm not saying push them too hard to go to a doctor, push them to go get help. You know, that's the biggest thing for me, was medical help. I wouldn't have stopped unless I had gotten medical help. And that's when I did stop. Being there for them and making sure they know that you know what they're doing is another thing, because the guilt sometimes will lead people to getting help. My friend Rachel asked quite a few questions, and I'm going to try to get to all of them. She asked, is it self-confidence or self-control? And this differs with whoever it is. To me, some people have issues with their self-confidence, and it becomes a mental struggle for them, and so then they start harming themselves. Some people, like me, lose all control and want to gain some control back, and then they do it. So I think it differs for every person. For me personally, it was self-control. She also asked, when does it end and when is enough enough? When is enough enough? For me, I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't have stopped unless I had gotten medical help. But for some people, enough is never enough, and they'll go as far as to doing something that causes them to commit suicide. For some people, enough is never enough. For me, enough was enough when I completely lost all control of everything, and I sought medical help, whatever the word is for that. My friend Denise asked, does it embarrass you, or do you hide it? Do you lie about it? Blame someone? What are you actually thinking while you do it? And are you hoping to get caught? When I was doing these things, I was so embarrassed. I was completely embarrassed. I made sure that I was doing things that I could hide, like the pulling. I pulled in spots that I knew that I would be able to hide from people. I didn't really lie about it, but it wasn't something that would come up. If somebody would have asked me, hey, have you been pulling? Then I would have said, yeah, I have, but actually, at the time, I think while I was doing it, I would have lied. I would have lied completely because I didn't want anyone to know. In fact, I did have a situation where someone asked me and I lied, blatantly lied. As far as what I was thinking while all this was happening, basically it was just an overwhelming feeling of relief, and I guess it was the adrenaline, but it was like a warm feeling in my body, and I could feel the anxiety going away, and I was just thinking, like, it's gonna be okay. I can remember thinking that, it's gonna be okay. And are you hoping to get caught? I think that also differs with people and to the extent of what they're doing. At the beginning, I hid the hair pulling. I hid the drinking. I hid the taking multiple pills. I lied about it. I hid it. I was embarrassed by it. But towards the end, when it became more cutting and the suicidal thoughts, I wanted to get caught because I wanted someone to help me. I wanted help so bad. I wanted out of my body. I wanted out of the terrible things that I was feeling. So it differs. It differs with the people, but I think that a lot of the times people don't hope that they're going to get caught. My friend Joseph asked, what is the cognitive reason for the pain to cover up the problems? And people always say, people that do these things, like people that cut, do it to focus on the physical pain instead of the mental pain. But that's not why I did it. Because I knew fully that even after the blood stopped, and there were scars, my problems were still going to be there. But I knew that this wasn't covering up anything. If anything, it was just showing the world exactly what my problems were and that I had problems. So for the people that do it for that reason, if there's any, I don't know, I don't understand that reasoning. That's not how I felt at all, because I knew that my problems were not going to go away just because I was pulling my hair out or because I was cutting my wrists. It was more of a control thing. And this video has actually been extremely hard for me to film. This is actually the third time I've tried to film it. And it's just a very hard subject to talk about, not only because it's so scary and sad in an emotional way, but it's hard to explain what I was feeling in a time that I was so manic that I don't even remember a lot of the things that happened. I hope that this video at least makes a little bit of sense. And I just want to say that if you are harming yourself, or if you know someone who is doing it, the biggest thing is to get help, whether it's a counselor, a a therapist, psychologist, psychiatrist. It might not be that you need medicine, you know, but I do think that talking to a professional is what needs to happen. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I know the subject matter is a little damp and depressing, but I feel like it was something that needed to be talked about. I've never talked about this in my blog or anywhere, so since I got such an uproar about it on Facebook, I think that this is something that a lot of you want to watch and hear about, because it's very prominent in the world and it's very hard. If you would like to contact me for more advice on this subject, you may add me on Facebook and send me a message on Facebook, and I'd be more than happy to talk to you about it and try to get more in depth if I can. If you like this video, maybe not the content, but the video in general, give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel. I should be posting more videos soon. These first two that I did were vlog style videos, but I'm gonna be changing it up pretty soon, so stay tuned to see some more stuff, and hopefully I'll start feeling better so that all of my videos aren't bleh. I know this was kind of a blah video, but I just don't feel good. It's just one of those days, guys. One of those days. I hope you all have excellent days until I see you again, and until then, stay excellent. Bye, guys.